What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Kangaroothless, and I'm bringing you yet another StarCraft 2 commentary. This will actually be an Encore cast for aXa, who has sent me plenty of his replays. He's actually posted them on the TeamLiquid.net forums as part of his new strategy about how you should play Zerg versus Terran. It's really sacrificing a little bit of economy mid-game so that you can crush those Terran pushes, those nasty timing pushes, and get the macro advantage late game, getting that tech advantage really, getting a nice tier 3 army going and crushing your Terran opponent. But let's go ahead and introduce our players here. aXa needs no introduction, but he will be the blue Zerg spawning in the bottom right position. His opponent, sTayALivE, will be spawning at the top right. That's a red Terran. And I want to go ahead and give a couple of shout outs here to some people from the community. First of all, first shout out goes to aXa. Thank you so much for making such a great thread and really giving Zergs like myself, lower level Zergs. I'm a high platinum Zerg and I've been having a lot of difficulty with Terrans going for timing pushes. Macro Terrans I do okay against, but when they go for these timing pushes that are meant to really hurt Zerg's economy, I have not been faring so well. And so I think I will start incorporating his new mass Zergling approach, or mass army approach really I should say, against Terran in my Terran versus Zerg versus Terran. And so hopefully that'll help me out a little bit on ladder, and hopefully that'll give me the bit of a push I need to get into Diamond. And another shout out goes to the TeamLiquid.net community. Thank you guys so much for watching the videos. I hope you guys have enjoyed the cast so far. If you would do me one big favor and comment on the videos, just comment below, subscribe, rate, whatever you want to do. But I definitely like hearing your feedback and seeing what you guys have to say about the cast so far. I would like to improve in any way possible. And as well, I think that is it for that. But here's another thing I wanted to bring up. I was reading through the thread, and a lot of Zergs were just coming up with this idea. Not really an idea; they were coming up with this complaint. Okay, this does really great against tank marine pushes, but what if Terran goes for fast Hellions, especially blue flame Hellions, and does some sort of mech play? How does this kind of playstyle do against that? And an earlier cast, when it was for marine tank, aXa responded by going for mass Ling, because that actually does quite well against marine tank, especially when your Lings are upgraded. But against a Hellion Thor or Hellion tank kind of build, you can't use Lings so much. You're actually going to have to use Roaches. And so we will see how aXa deals with Hellion harass and a heavy mech build in this play, and I think this will provide a lot of insight to how you can use this sort of strategy to your advantage when Terran's, it's really just picking apart Terran's timing attacks. It's punishing Terran for going for those timing attacks because Terran is playing into the metagame and not fearing Zerg enough. Terran doesn't respect Zerg when they go for those timing pushes. And that's why they think, okay, if I let Zerg just macro up all day, you know, Terran will get behind. But if I apply some pressure, if I do some sort of timing attack, I can actually get myself way back in the game and do a lot of damage and, you know, potentially give myself a spot to win in the mid to late game. And it's generally the mid game that's been providing the most problems for Zergs. If you've survived to late game and you've kind of gone off that mutiling blink strategy, you just don't have the upgrades you really need to punish Terran for these timing pushes. But anyways, let's go ahead and, well, I gotta make up a couple of more announcements. aXa also has a Zerg versus Protoss strategy that he has, he's written a thread about it on TeamLiquid.net, and he wanted me to cast one of the games that revolves around a 9 pool and how you can punish the Protoss Forge Fast Expand. So again, his builds are centered around punishing the metagame for Zerg versus any sort of opponent. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this game. It looks like sTayALivE has gone for a Hellion opener, and aXa has gone ahead and done a nice SimCity here. He's thrown down 2 Evolution Chambers, 2 Spine Crawlers, and blocked off the rest with the Queen. And so these Hellions won't be able to get here and do very much damage, but they do pick off that creep tumor, so the creep spread will not be like what we saw in earlier games, where the creep spread was nearly to the opponent's base by the time the push actually arrived. So aXa will have to kind of turtle up here, and that's more or less his strategy against this kind of Hellion harass, this kind of Hellion play into possibly heavy mech, is you turtle up, you You wait for the right amount of roaches, you wait for the right amount of units, and then you push out and you crush the push just like you usually would. So once again, it is turtling Zerg, but I want to go ahead and point this out. Terran actually went for 1 Rax, 1 factory, 1 command center build. So it's actually a very economic opening from Terran. He's going to be able to harass and deny any sort of third going up for Zerg, as well as deny creep spread, and deny that kind of map control that Zerg likes to have at this point in time in the game before those nice pushes come out. So now that we can see, you know, in his previous replays, aXa just had his slings out in the middle of the map. So this way he could intersect any sort of pushes coming his way. But when you go for mass Hellion like this, the appropriate way to respond is with roaches. aXa knows that he's going for some sort of mech play because he's made 7 Hellions. You don't just do this and then go Marines behind this because you won't have the mineral income necessary to support it. Now he was trying to pick away at this evolution chamber, but this spine crawler will root and will ward away the rest of these Hellions. So they will be forced to retreat momentarily, but look at this. sTayALivE has already started Thor production and early armory, and he's actually gone for 3 factory with tech labs, so you can expect a lot of Hellions, a lot of Thors, and a lot of tanks from this build. He's also throwing up an engineering bay. This way, if Zerg is just turtling to go for missile turrets, he will be safe against any sort of mutilous harass. So nice build from Terran, and I feel like this is a really nasty push that he's created here. Really nasty strategy. Let's go back to the action here. Since Terran can't really pick away any more at this evolution chamber without getting poked from the spine crawler, he's decided to start working on these rocks. And this is a great idea, even though Hellions don't do that great against destructible objects like rocks or debris. I mean, if you can wear them down just a little bit until your real DPS units can come out, like the Thor, you can actually push and break this wall off and to start harassing this drone line. So if he's about to break down these rocks, aXa will actually need to go ahead and block off this choke as well. aXa has started on his Roach Clear Reconstitution, so he'll be responding to this sort of mech play with roaches. This is the appropriate response. Roaches do work wonders against mech. And yes, when they get out enough tanks and Thors, it's kind of hard to deal with, but they won't be able to do that early game. They won't be able to make as many units as they would like early game to really punish Zerg for going so many roaches, especially because of all these Hellions here. He delayed his tank production, or really I should say Thor production, so you can get all these Hellions out and deny that sort of map control. But it looks like Terran wants to poke in here a little bit, deal some damage. This queen is going to get picked off because she was not careful, and queens are very well known for being very aggressive whenever pushes are coming. Meanwhile, aXa is waiting on more roaches to come. He's working on that clear reconstitution as well. Terran, in the meantime, is sending, it looks like, 5 SCVs to go and auto-repair this army. This will be a very nasty push, but Terran is committing a lot to this. You can see that mech armies really take a long time to produce, and it looks like aXa is going to push out here a little bit. He wants to get a nice surround so he can trap this army and pick off the rest with his roaches. These lings will get the surround, and he will be able to take out this push. Very nicely done by aXa. Great control. sTayALivE will be forced to retreat with his 2 rallying Thors, and now Terran is in deep trouble. He has kept Zerg to 2 base, but because of this macro hatchery that aXa has thrown down, he will be able to produce as many units as he needs. And meanwhile, it looks like about here he might go in for a counterattack, but it looks like he's also sending in this drone to set up an expansion. He sees these 4 Thors and knows that it would be suicide to run in with all these roaches. So we'll probably wait for tunneling claws before he decides to initiate the attack. 3rd is going down, and this drone will be throwing down a 4th as well. Meanwhile, this Hellion will get picked off. And let's look at the income tab. Since aXa's been on 2 base, he's still ahead in harvesters, but he's only mining off of 2 bases. Zerg's want to be on 3 bases at this point. It's 13 minutes into the game. So sTayALivE has done a great job at keeping Zerg on 2 base thus far, but now he's just given up so much map control because that push got shut down, and now he's relying on a mech build, and he really, with mech, you want to be on 3 base. It's going to be really hard. He's going to have to build up a nice tank count in order to push out. But we'll see what aXa does in this situation. He's waiting for tunneling claws. They do finally occur, and so he's going to send 1 scouting roach to see if there are any turrets up, any detection of any sort. Meanwhile, just streaming in more roaches. Siege tanks are about finished. And now aXa decided he wants to go ahead and push in here. Terran will scout this. He's already sending out his Thors to try and deal with this. But aXa he's just attacked too fast. He's going to push him with all these roaches. These are 1-1 roaches. They do quite well against unupgraded Thors. That armor is just now going down. They are 1+1 attack, but these roaches will be enough to take out the rest of these Thors. The SVs will be forced to retreat, and now this expansion has been nullified. aXa can start picking away at this expansion. Meanwhile, this burrowed roach is actually denied the third from sTayALivE. Very nicely done. And now aXa can just go ahead and start picking off supply depots and what have you. But it looks like he smells blood and he wants to go in for the kill here. So he's going to try and push his way up the ramp. I would push back in aXa's position, but I am not a master Zerg. If he wants to push down the supply depot, he will have sight up the ramp, so he will pick off that tank. And the supply depot will go down. Yes, it does. But there are just too many tanks here. And it looks like as soon as this Thor pops, aXa will be forced to retreat. Thors do great against roaches if they are not in range. So these roaches will have to retreat for the time being. Meanwhile, 10 more roaches in production. He already has another 11 roaches rallied up here with his other roaches. That's just so many roaches. Look at the units count. He has 40 roaches against just the 1 Thor and 3 tanks of Terran. So as you can see with Mech, and if you can hit him early enough, you can really punish him for going this sort of play style. So he's going to group all his roaches together, wait until they can get into a nice clump before they attack. Terran has to retake his his natural, otherwise he'll just get way too far behind. Meanwhile, these Hellions should be going over here to shoo away this burrowed roach, which will finally move away so that the command center can finally land. But meanwhile, these roaches are coming in with the sight of the Overlord. They'll be able to pick off these 2 siege tanks on the high ground, and they'll be able to push in and crush the rest of this army. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Blue Flame Hellions don't do jack squat against mass roaches, especially when they're upgraded. Terran will scout this expansion and will decide that it's time for him to leave the game. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is how you deal with heavy mech playstyle as Zerg. You pretty much turtle up until you have enough units to destroy that initial push. If they go for heavy mech, they won't have that many units. You can pick them off quite easily. And really, after that, you just pressure Terran until he cracks. And let's go with the production tab behind this, who's actually going for Infestation Pit. So it looks like he was going to go for some sort of, hive tech. I would guess in this position you would go for Ultralisk, maybe Broodlords, because he doesn't have very many Marines. And he doesn't have any starports. I would expect Broodlords. But anyways, that'll do it for this game. I hope you guys have enjoyed the cast so far. This was an Encore cast. Again, thanks to my my man aXa for providing these replays and for providing such a great Zerg strategy against those Terran timing pushes. Once again, I've been your host, Kangaroo Ruthless, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.